Okay, let's go ahead and call the June 24th meeting of the State Finance Council to order. Madeline, could you please call the roll?
President Masterson?
Here.
He's there. Oh, okay. Senator Alley?
Here.
Senator Sykes?
Here.
Senator Bellinger? Speaker Reichman? Representative Hawkins? Representative Sawyer? Representative Waymaster? Governor Kelly?
I'm here. Okay, I need a motion to approve the minutes of the February 24th State Finance Council meeting. Okay, we've got a motion from Representative Hawkins.
Second.
I'll second it.
Okay, we got a motion from Representative Hawkins, a second from Representative Sawyer. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, minutes are approved. All right, the first item on the agenda is the request from the Recovery Office for the approval of the Spark allocations. Secretary D'Angela Burns-Wallace is with us, and she'll provide an overview and answer any questions that you all might have.
Good afternoon. I am here on behalf of the Recovery Office, and I am bringing to you the recommendation that came out of the Spark Committee's meeting yesterday afternoon. So just as a reminder to the State Finance Council, the Spark Committee has now reconvened, and any of their recommendations will begin to again come forward. For those of you who were on State Finance Council last year, you'll remember this process that came out of Spark. The executive committee met for the first time yesterday. This is one of the first items coming forward for them for your consideration, but we will be bringing items back throughout the summer and fall as they continue to do their work around the relief dollars, setting those priorities, and leveraging dollars on behalf of Kansans. With that, the one item that came out of the Spark recommendations yesterday is in relationship to the Recovery Office budget. The original budget, the Recovery Office was stood up specifically to support the delivery and the administration of the CRF dollars that came to the state last year, those discretionary dollars, and the processes associated with those. If you remember, when those dollars were received by the state and across the country, they were originally given with a date that they had to be utilized by December 30, 2020. So when the office was stood up and the original budget was put together and approved through State Finance Council, it was designed for the office to truly function and kind of end in January as those dollars ran out. As we know, the year progressed. By December, not only did the CRF funds get extended, so the CRF funds were then valid through December 30, 2021, but additionally, new relief bills began to emerge. So there was the CAA bill that came out in HR 133 in December, and subsequently there has been ARPA, the American Rescue Plan Act, that was passed in March of this year. So undoubtedly, because of those changes, the office had to continue to operate and support. So what we presented to the Spark Committee yesterday was an adjustment to the FY21 budget to accommodate the additional expenses for the full year operation of the Office of Recovery. And so that is originally approved $8.6 million, adjusting to $10.5 million for FY21. Additionally, given that the Recovery Office was only designed initially to support CRF, there was never an FY22 budget introduced, envisioned, or anything of that nature. So we brought forward to Spark a proposal for the FY22 budget to be able to support continuing the closeout of CRF, the ongoing management of the current and any future relief bills, as well as the support that is ongoing to local governments through technical assistance for their dollars that they are receiving, and the support of the Spark process. The Spark committee had lots of questions, as you can imagine, around the budget, and some of them we were able to answer, and there's additional discussion that they would like to have. So their recommendation coming forward before you today is to, one, approve the adjustment of the FY21 budget to the 10.5, and then to roll that budget forward at the 10.5 level for FY22 so that we can have continuity of operations. And then we will revisit the larger budget request once we can provide some additional details around what the operations will look like for the rest of the year. In your packet, you do have a summary slide, but you also have a operational expenditure breakout for both FY21 and FY22. The gray columns identify the approved Spark recommendations for each of the fiscal years. Thank you.
Good. Anyone have any questions for Secretary Burns-Wallace? Okay. Seeing none, then I need a motion to approve the resolution for the Spark allocations.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion from Representative Sawyer. Is there a second? And we have a second from Speaker Reichman. All in favor? Or actually, Madeline, you need to call the roll.
President Masterson,
Aye. By the way, I'm having trouble hearing the governor.
Senator Sykes, Senator Bellinger, Speaker Reichman,
Aye.
Representative Hawkins, Representative Sawyer, Representative Waymaster, Governor Kelly.
Aye. Okay, the second item on the agenda is the request of Department of Transportation to approve.
Yes, aye.
U.S. Is Ty trying to speak to us? To approve the U.S. 69 tolling and construction. So with us is Secretary Julie Lorenz. She'll provide an overview and answer any questions.
Thank you. I am Julie Lorenz, Secretary of the Kansas Department of Transportation and the Director of the Kansas Turnpike Authority, and I am here in both capacities today. I'm also joined by Mayor Carl Gerlach from Overland Park, and we're both here to answer questions at the end if you have any. We're here today to request approval of our joint proposal related to electronic toll lanes. And I know most of you are sort of familiar in one way or another with this project, but this is an important step forward in Kansas transportation, so I want to give you a proper but short briefing. All right, so next slide, please. If we're going to do that. If not, we're going to move on to slide number 2, or page number 2 in your booklet. So today is the culmination of a strong, collaborative, and transparent process that dates back to the 2018 Legislative Task Force, and Senator Bellinger will remember that task force, Representative Waymaster, and coming out of that task force, there were several recommendations that have been embedded into the IKE transportation program and are now reflected. So you said, go look for new sources of funding. You said, take a look at more cooperative partnerships, try to work better with communities. And you see all of those sorts of things coming forward. We then went in 2019 to do a round of local consult meetings across the state twice. From that, then we went into 2019, expanded tolling legislation was passed, along with a registration fee on electric vehicles, and by the time we got to 2020, we passed with great bipartisan support the Eisenhower Legacy Transportation Program, and Governor Kelly signed that. Likewise, I want to point out, the closing of the bank of KDOT is key and fundamental to the delivery of this program year in and year out, and I'm thankful that that bank continues to be closed. So now, we're here to talk about this electronic tolling proposal, and I believe it to be a win for both Overland Park and for the state. So let's go on to slide number 3. And it truly has been a fantastic partnership between the KTA, KDOT, and Overland Park as we look at US 69. Next slide, which is slide number 4. So US 69 is the top-rated project as we have done our project evaluations in the state for improvement. We have some safety concerns out there. There's a lot of congestion, and it is a primary economic corridor for the state. Next slide. So we took a look at, that's okay, we're on 5 now. We looked at, by law, every single kind of alternative you could look at for making improvements, from transit on up, and the conclusion is there really are only 2 viable options. We need to add a lane. The question is, how do you pay for the lane? And that's where the viability of the 2 options comes in. Next slide. So now we're on 6. So it's a $300 million project, and consistent with the way we have partnered with Overland Park over many, many years, that means about a $20 million local contribution. Overland Park, year in and year out, has been a very strong partner and traditionally has provided 7% local match on improvement projects. So we said to Overland Park, hey, we'll take $20 million up front, or you can have a payment plan, and that would be $2 million a year for 11 years because we need to account for inflation, or we can take a look at adding a toll to the new capacity, to the new lane. Next slide. I want to be clear, we're on 7. This proposal meets and in some cases exceeds the letter of the law. The 2 free lanes, and that's in air quotes, right? Because nothing's really free. The 2 free lanes that are actually tax supported remain free. It's the new lane that would be tolled. So whatever you drive on free today, you can continue to drive on free tomorrow. We followed the process, and I want to point out there is a requirement to have 1 public meeting. We have so far exceeded that public engagement, and we needed to so that folks could really understand what this new approach, this electronic toll lane, might mean. You can see the graphic there. There is no barrier, it's striping. You get in and out of the lane. There's signage to tell you how much that toll is going to cost, depending on time of day and how busy the highway is. So it's a very modern approach, used all across the country, just new to Kansas and fairly new to the Midwest. Okay, next slide. Now we're on 8. This is why, when you take a look at the 2 options, the express toll lane is a good buy for the state. It's $85 million cheaper than if we were to use the traditional widening because we're able to better manage the congestion and we don't have to build the collector distributor routes. That is both cheaper, but it also means the footprint of the project is not as big. It's not as wide, so it's more environmentally friendly. Next slide, and this is the actual beauty of this approach, and it's kind of small, but the point of it is, by the time we get to 2050, you can see the 2 free lanes. You can see there are some yellow dots. That's where we're starting to see moderate congestion. But under the express toll lane, you only have 2 because the express lane itself remains green because we're managing the amount of traffic that we let in there, so they will be able to continue to move at pace. Under traditional widening, that new lane has already started to fill up. It's that classic, you build it and the lanes fill up almost as quickly as you open them. Next slide. Important to note on 10, on opening day, so to speak, we anticipate a rate of about $1.75. You can see the different segment costs there. This is truly capitalism at its finest. It's supply and demand. We're going to price it, the lane, to try to keep an even distribution of traffic across all 3 lanes. So in rush hour, it's going to cost you a little more. At 3 in the afternoon, it's going to cost you less because we want those 3 lanes to be fully utilized. Next slide. Important to note, we are coming in at a fairly low price point compared to the national average, and here's why. And this is something, actually, I had an interview this morning and talked about it. We're not here to make a profit. We're not bonding against these toll revenues because this is part of the state highway system. So we are pricing it to manage the congestion. We're not pricing it to pay back a bond. So we can keep the price as low as possible to keep that lane filled. Next slide. So folks say, how long is this toll going to be on the road? Well, the answer is until we generate $20 million plus inflation. That's current law. Now, in the future, Overland Park may say, this is working so well, we don't want to take the toll off because of the congestion management piece, but we're not at that point today. Today, based on law, it comes off when the $20 million is paid for. Our projections suggest that would be between 2037 and 2042. Mechanically, so to speak, the tolls will be collected by KTA, put in a separate fund, kind of like an escrow fund, so that they're not commingled with other state highway funds, so we can keep track of those. And then KDOT comes in and pulls those out each year, and we'll do a true up with KTA. Next slide. For these reasons, we propose coming to you with the benefits of better engineering, better traffic management, lower costs, and ability for Overland Park to generate their local contribution without having to increase their property tax or their sales tax, and some really significant environmental benefits as well. Next slide. This is where the partnership, and I'm glad Senator Masterson's on the phone today, this is where the partnership between KDOT and KTA really starts to play out beautifully. KTA has great customer service. They will do toll collections and they will provide the customer service piece. They have the back office built out, and this helps them expand their footprint in the state. They will add customer service agents and other sort of things. Your K-tag, if it works today, it will work on this highway as well. Next slide. When I said we'd far exceeded community engagement, oh yeah, 1.4 million people have been advised through media, through lots of public meetings. I want to give a shout out to Lindsay Douglas and Cameron McGowan from HNTB. They spent hours and hours and hours, and that is the reason we have not had the kind of public concern that you've seen like in Colorado and Texas through the years. We worked really hard. Next slide. I want to point out the far left one is the pie graph to keep your eye on. We're in the sweet spot. What we've heard is between about 36% of folks we talk to would be willing to use a lane sometimes or frequently. That's where we want to be. Remember, we got 3 lanes. We want a third of those folks to be in that lane. It goes up to 62% of people would use it if they were in an emergency situation. So we are right where we want to be at that price point. Okay, and folks said, yep, we think the ETLs, the electronic toll lanes, will keep people moving. Next slide. People see this as fair. I think that's important for everyone to take some comfort in. They think it's fair because it's a user tax. Only those people that want to get in that lane will have to pay for that lane. And as I said, that means Overland Park doesn't have to increase property tax or sales tax. Next slide, 18. So Mayor Gerlach and the rest of the council was there pretty late Monday night when they finally got to the vote, and it passed 10-2. Next slide. So now I am before you today with our proposal for the slide 19, $300 million project. The express toll lane would run from 103rd to 151st Street. KDOT will lead the planning, the design, and the construction. We'll partner with KTA for the operation and maintenance of the toll lane itself. Overland Park will provide a $20 million local contribution for that base project, and it will come from the net toll revenue. Next slide. So then yesterday, KTA board met and unanimously, 5-0, voted in support of this proposal. So with that, I respectfully request your approval, and we're happy, Mayor and I, to stand for any questions.
Secretary, any questions for Secretary Lorenz? Speaker Reichman.
Thank you, Governor. This one's more of a statement, but just to clarify, this is purely optional. This is not a toll. Lots of times people think the entire road is being tolled, but this is only the one lane, so it is optional if you choose to pick this lane or not.
Absolutely, and good signage, and I could go on and on, I won't, but we have good signage already planned so that as you're driving, you can look up and see, at this moment, is this going to cost me 75 cents to take a full trip, or is it $1.25? Once you enter that lane, that's what the price is. So even if you enter at 75 cents and the traffic is growing, you will only pay 75 cents when you exit. 3 cars behind you may come in at $1, okay? But they would be charged $1. So for whatever you enter that price, it's tagged to your license or your K-tag, and that's the price you pay when you exit.
But the Folks that still may want it to be 2 lanes can use those other 2 lanes and
for free.
want to use the 3rd lane.
Nothing changes about the use of those, except they're going to move better because you've removed 1/3 of the traffic.
And this project's not just for Overland Park. We appreciate Overland Park's work on this and their affirmative vote, but it's for the entire region and what it can do to move folks up and down. They're on their way to work, to jobs, and to all the activities that they participate in.
We estimate 60% of the traffic is Overland Park traffic, 40% is traveling through. It also is important to note, we're asking all communities at the upfront part of the Eisenhower Legacy Program to bring something to the table, so whether it's money or downscoping, and so it's important that we're all working together.
And again, a lot of our projects are funded through the typical, the IKE program, and you probably could correct me, but 17 to 18% of our funding comes from sales tax, not just a gasoline tax. So folks that are buying everyday goods historically would participating and pay for this road, which they would never use. Now the folks that are going to use it can actually pay for it.
Exactly.
And so it helps everybody's lower their tax base, and only the ones that want to use it will be the ones.
I think, and Mayor could correct me if I was wrong, but one of the councilmen Monday night made the specific point of saying, I'm from a different, my ward is not touched by 69. I don't use 69 very often. When I use 69, I don't intend to use that toll lane because I'm only there in the afternoons. So we do believe it is much more of a user fee because it's only the folks that want to use that lane. Not even all the residents of Overland Park have to pay for it.
I think this is very innovative. I'm not for sure how many other places in the United States this happens. I know this is one of the first. So I appreciate your direction on this, and Mayor, for what your council has done as well.
Any additional questions for Secretary Lorenz? Okay, very good. Thank you. All right, seeing none, then I need a motion to approve the resolution for the US
I'll move
69
approval.
tolling and construction. I've got a motion from Senator Sykes. Do I have a second?
Second.
And we've got a second from Representative Waymaster. Alan, could you take the,
President Masterson?
Yes, I think we're a little bit delayed.
okay, Representative Waymaster, would you mind if I gave the second to Senator Masters? Is that what he was trying to do, Senator Billinger? Okay. Okay, so let's give the second to Senator Masters.
President Masterson?
Aye.
Senator Sykes? Senator Billinger? Speaker Reichman?
Aye.
Representative Hawkins? Sawyer? Representative Waymaster?
Aye. Oh, he's here. Yeah, that's true.
Senator Alley? Vote, please.
This is Larry Alley. Aye.
Would you guys pay for this sound system? Okay. We probably do need to actually get in touch with it and find out how he voted, I'm pretty sure. You? Yeah, can we see his picture and can he just give a thumbs up?
Are you having trouble
Why
hearing?
don't you see if you can pull his picture up?
We're having serious delay issues. If you can hear us.
You know, the public is hearing all of this.
Can you guys not hear or see us? Mine says unmute and it says I have video. Can they not hear or see us, Rick? I thumbed up. Mine says my video's on, says my mute's off.
Both Senator Alley and Senator Masterson up on the screen.
We're, we're good here. I just can't hear you.
Senator Alley, if, do you have a vote on the US 69 construction and tolling?
Yes.
Okay,
Aye.
it's a thumbs up. There we go. All
Okay.
right, and Senator Masterson also put thumb up, so we're good.
Yes. As a matter of fact, our video says we're on and we're unmuted, so we can see each other. We're laughing, thumbs upping each other, but you guys obviously have no connection.
Okay, very good. Madeline, can you give us the final result of that roll call?
The final vote is 8 in favor, plus the governor for a unanimous vote.
Okay, so the US 69, congratulations, Mayor and Secretary. All right, next on the agenda is the request of the Kansas Development Finance Authority to approve the issuance of bonds for a portion of the unfunded actuarial pension liability for CAPERS. We've got Jim McMurray here to provide an overview and answer any questions you might have.
Good afternoon, Governor and members of the Council. The Kansas Development Finance Authority is proposing to issue its Series 2021K taxable revenue bonds to make a deposit in an amount not to exceed $500 million to the Kansas Public Employees Retirement System in accordance with House Bill 2405. One of the requirements of the bill is for the State Finance Council to approve by resolution the issuance of the bonds, including the parameters of principal amount, interest rates, and final maturity. You have before you our proposal for the resolution, which sets the principal amount at $500 million, plus all amounts required to pay the cost of issuance of the bonds, including any credit enhancement, interest costs, and provide any required reserves for the bonds, which mirrors the language of the statute. The interest rate cap of not to exceed 4.3% all-inclusive costs, again, which mirrors the language of the statute. And the final maturity in the calendar year 2051, which is not specified in the statute, but needs to be set by the council in the resolution. We plan on structuring the financing with 30-year level debt service. Our most recent estimate for annual debt service is $25.3 million for fiscal years 2022 to 2051 at an all-inclusive cost of 3.01%, which includes the anticipated transaction costs and a 10-year par call option. This estimate is subject to change until the bonds are priced, primarily based on U.S. Treasury rates, but also on investor sentiment and credit spreads. Pricing for the bonds is currently planned for Tuesday, August 17th, with closing on Thursday, August 26th. In addition to the proposed resolution and the enrolled House Bill 2405, your package should also include a more detailed structure of schedule of the debt service for the bonds, an estimate of the impact on the debt service at higher all-inclusive rates of 3.5%, 3.75%, and 4.3%. A historical context of the U.S. Treasury 30-year yield since 1990 and the summary of prior pension funding bonds the state has done. And finally, the U.S. Treasury's published daily Treasury yield curve for the month of June 21st. Be more than happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay. Are there any questions for Mr. McMurray? Senator Bellinger.
Thank you, Madam Governor. The rates appear to be going down a little again.
Yes, they are. If you go to the June 2021 table from the U.S. Treasury curves, they started the month, the 30-year Treasury was at 2.30 at the start of this month, and currently it's around 2.11.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, then, I need a motion to approve the resolution for the Capers bonds. And we've got a motion from Representative Hawkins. Second? And a second from Representative Sawyer.
President Masterson?
His thumbs up.
Aye.
Senator Alley?
Senator Alley? How do you vote?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Aye.
Representative Hawkins? Representative Sawyer? Representative Waymaster? Governor Kelly?
Aye.
The vote is unanimous in favor.
Okay.
Thank you, Council.
All right. The next item on the agenda is a request of the Attorney General to review the claim judgment in the matter of the wrongful conviction of Olin L. E. Kearns.
Good afternoon, Madam Governor, Senators, Representatives. My name is Dennis Depew. I'm the Deputy Attorney General for Civil Litigation, and we appreciate your time today to visit with us about the Olin Pete Kearns innocence case. We have provided you in your packet the journal entry of judgment from the Shawnee County District Court. That has been approved. The claimant is Mr. Kearns. His counsel is the Morgan Pilot firm from Olathe. We have worked with them on several of these cases before. This relates back to a Wyandotte County case. There was a double murder in 2008, and Mr. Kearns was convicted in 2009. Subsequently, in 2020, the conviction was vacated by the court in Wyandotte County, and the case was dismissed by the Wyandotte County District Attorney. Mr. Kearns was incarcerated for 12 years and 213 days, and properly and timely filed his claim in November of last year. Unfortunately, he subsequently passed away in February of this year, but his estate continued to pursue the claim, which we honored. We used as we do with all of these cases, we conducted a thorough investigation to confirm independently for ourselves that Mr. Kearns met the qualifications of the statute and was in fact innocent of the crime that he was convicted of. Our determination was that the evidence supported his claim and that he was innocent. His compensation requested pursuant to the calculations in the statute would be a total of $817,931.51. The Morgan Pilot firm is requesting $8,370.30, attorney's fees and costs for a total claim of $826,301.81. This is the fifth one of these cases that we have come before you to request approval on. There have been 11 cases total that have been filed under the new statute since it was enacted. We had one case that was denied at the district court level, and that denial was affirmed by the Kansas Supreme Court. And we continue to have 5 cases that are pending. The statute requires that you review this. We don't require an affirmative vote or a negative vote. We just ask that you review it, and I'm willing to stand for questions if any of you have any questions about the case.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Depew? Okay, then I will note that the wrongful conviction claim judgment has been reviewed by the State
Thank you, Governor.
Council. And we don't need to do anything else. Okay, I think we are now going to go into executive session, and I believe that Representative Waymaster will take us there.
Thank you, Governor. I move that the open meeting of the State Finance Council be recessed for a closed executive meeting pursuant to KSA 75-4319A for consultation with the Attorney General and members of the staff of the Attorney General to discuss matters relating to proposed tort claim settlements under consideration pursuant to KSA 75-6106 under the justification listed in KSA 75-4319B2, because discussion of such matters in an open meeting would waive attorney-client privilege. That the State Finance Council resume the open meeting in room 346 South of the State House at 3 o'clock. And at this motion, actually, no, that's right, 2:55, let's say 2:55. And at this motion, if adopted, be recorded in the minutes and be maintained as part of the permanent records of the State Finance Council. The initial motion.
Don't take that personally. So Senator Masterson. Yeah, are you seeing anything?
What I see on YouTube now is 93 executive session.
Senator. So he sees the white screen. What about audio? Is that shutting down also?
1, 2, 3.
I'm on the same feed as
Testing. Testing. 1, 2, 3.
plus Larry's knocked out screen and deputy.
We good? Okay. Sorry?
Yeah. Promise. Yeah. Larry. Takes over and cast that up onto YouTube.
It does what? Oh, is the closed caption shown? It ties the closed caption shown on YouTube.
Can't, let's come back to open session.
Okay, they're gonna give us a thumbs up now. Any questions? Okay. If no questions, I just need a motion then to second. Time it out.
Time lapse. Real quick, can I ask you if it's any corrective action taken by the officers or departments? Now we need to turn it off back on.
Turn it back on.
Now leave the mics on too.
Who did we get this system?
So. This is the case where it stops.
Okay. My mic work, yep. Oh, yeah. Yeah. We are now back in session, and I need a motion to approve the resolution for the proposed settlement in the case of Alexander versus Andrew Baus et al.
So moved.
We have a motion from Representative Sawyer, a second from Representative Hawkins.
Anderson? Is he on? Masterson?
And I. Phone.
Senator Allen?
Senator Alley.
Aye.
Senator Sykes.
Aye.
Representative Sawyer. Representative Waymaster. Governor Kelly.
Aye. Now, I need a motion to approve the resolution of the proposed settlement in the case of Bennett versus Kansas et al. And Montgomery versus Kansas et al. Is there a motion? Sorry about that. It was not intended. Okay, do I have a motion? Okay, we got a motion from Representative Waymaster.
Second.
Second from
Representative
Sawyer.
Sawyer.
President Masterson. Senator Alley.
Aye.
Senator Sykes. Senator Bellinger. Speaker Reichman.
Aye.
Aye.
Representative Hawkins. Representative Sawyer. Representative Waymaster.
Okay, very good.
This concludes the
The 2024 state finance proclamation.
to adjourn. Representative Hawkins, all over it. Second. Representative Sawyer. All in favor? Opposed?
Aye.